Today we will recap the 2014 sci-fi action movie called Robocop, where an honest cop returns from a coma to take his revenge. So let's get started. Technology has advanced significantly by 2028, and robots are utilized even in war. Omnicorp is the leading manufacturer of these robotic soldiers, with plans to send them worldwide. However, they cannot do so due to some laws against this. The company takes some TV reporters to Tehran and demonstrates how successfully these robots accomplish activities that people struggle with. Maddox, an Omnicorp employee, distributes red bands to media members. He assures them that the robots will never attack and always protect them because they wear these bands. The robots begin their normal search, and the entire procedure is broadcast live to spectators in America. However, some terrorists see this as an ideal opportunity to get the media's attention. The suicide bombers jump on the robots, and chaos ensues everywhere. The robots murder all the terrorists, but then a boy comes out with a knife, which the robots determine to be dangerous and kill him. The live feed is quickly cut off because this plan backfired. Television host Pat Novak praises how the droids handled the situation and supports Omnicorp CEO Raymond Sellers' idea to use these droids in the US. However, Senator Hubert opposes it. In Detroit, Detective Alex Murphy meets with Chief Karen Dean. Alex, along with his partner Jack Lewis, had a shootout with criminal Antoine Vallen's men, killing 6 and injuring Lewis. Other cops, John Lake and Andre Daniels, are unhappy with Alex for interfering in their investigation. Alex believes they might be corrupt, given their lack of progress in 2 years. Alex then recounts his side of the story, when he and Lewis worked undercover to dismantle illegal firearms shipments. Posing as potential buyers, they engaged with a dealer named Jerry White. Suspicion grew as they believed Jerry deals in illicit arms. Pretending their belief that Jerry is an undercover cop, they coaxed him into revealing his connection to Antoine Vallon. When they ran the serial numbers on the guns, they uncovered a shocking truth. The weapons should have been locked in the evidence room, implying Vallon has corrupt officers on his payroll. Despite reservations, Alex and Lewis arrange a meeting with Vallon at a restaurant. Lewis insists on backup due to the danger, but Alex fears it would tip off Vallon. The meeting begins smoothly, and Vallon and his right-hand man seem to fall for their undercover personas. Unfortunately, just as they're about to close the deal, someone betrays them to Vallon through a phone call. Vallon abruptly departs the table as armed men open fire from outside. Alex and Lewis return fire, and after a prolonged exchange of gunfire, several henchmen are killed. In the shootout, Lewis gets shot on his right shoulder, and Alex stays by his side until an ambulance arrives. Back in present, Chief Dean emphasizes to Alex that he should not undertake such a mission without consulting her first. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Sellers is giving testimony before a Senate subcommittee hearing, where Senator Dreyfus discusses using Omnicorp's droids for law enforcement. Dreyfus argues that a machine lacks the capacity to experience emotions, even if it were to harm someone, including a child. Reluctantly, Sellers admits this point. After returning to Detroit, Sellers meets with his marketing team, Liz Klein and Tom Pope. Recognizing that a significant portion of the population opposes the idea of robots patrolling their streets, Sellers suggests putting a human inside a machine. At the Omnicorp Rehabilitation Center, Dr. Dennett Norton, along with Klein and Pope, assesses potential candidates for the Man-in-a-Machine program, all of whom are veteran police officers. However, Dr. Norton and Sellers reject each candidate, citing physical or psychological limitations. It is revealed that 2 officers, Lake and Daniels, whom Chief Dean dismissed from her office earlier, are the ones who betrayed Alex to Vallon. They meet Vallon at a bar, and he playfully reproaches them for not informing him sooner. Vallon considers bribing Alex to bring him under control, but Daniels argues against it, as Alex would only intensify his goal to capture Vallon. The 2 detectives suggest the idea of eliminating Alex, but Vallon hesitates due to the increased police security. However, Lake and Daniels remind him that they would be responsible for investigating him. Consequently, Vallon instructs one of his men to plant a bomb in the driver's side wheel well of Alex's car later that day, while Alex visits Lewis in the hospital. Alex returns home to his wife Clara and their son David. After tucking David into bed, he and Clara begin to get close when an unexpected car alarm disrupts their moment. Alex rushes outside to silence it. However, the car alarm is just a trap, luring him out and triggering a remote explosion. Alex sustains severe injuries, suffering fourth-degree burns all over his body. Both of his legs and one arm require amputation. He loses vision in one eye and faces probable deafness. Dr. Norton and his medical team identify Alex as a perfect candidate for their experimental program. However, they need to convince Clara to consent to Alex's participation, who worries about the type of life her husband may have. 3 months have passed since the incident. Alex attends a party with Clara, joined by Jack and his wife. They share a dance. However, unknown to Alex, this moment is a memory replayed by Norton and his assistant Kim, while finalizing Alex's advanced mechanical suit. When they awaken him, he's overwhelmed by the sight of his new self. Alex panics and grabs Norton by the throat, throwing him aside. Kim tries to deactivate Alex, but Norton instructs her to let him go. Alex flees from the facility, but then they shut him down and bring him back inside. In the lab, Norton confronts Alex, revealing the grim reality. Only his head, heart, lungs, and brain remain intact. Alex is horrified and pleads for death. Norton reminds him of Clara's consent, emphasizing that letting him die would make their efforts pointless. Alex undergoes rigorous training to become familiar with his program. Maddox demonstrates that his suit can respond to threats, even drawing a firearm when necessary. In a simulator room, Alex faces off against a basic EM-208 robot. The monitor shows that the robot reacts faster to threats. While Alex hesitates, concerned about potential harm to civilians, he also displays more strategic thinking. Maddox refuses to accept Alex's slower reflexes. Following simulator training, Alex proceeds to field training. He faces Maddox and other robots while wearing an exoskeleton. Alex adeptly navigates through the robot gunfire, eliminating them, and even tasering Maddox for good measure. Norton and Sellers observe the entire training session. Norton explains that Alex may believe he's making these decisions, but he's actually following programmed orders. Klein raises legal concerns, but Sellers argues that it's acceptable for a machine to believe it's human. Later, Norton drives Alex to his home, where he reunites with Clara and David for the first time. A public press conference is organized to introduce the reformed Alex to the city. Norton and Kim monitor Alex's emotional reactions as they upload police database information into his mind. As he recalls his attempted murder, he experiences overwhelming emotions and a seizure. Norton, pressured by Klein and Pope, decides to lower Alex's emotional levels. Alex leaves to meet Clara and David, but he shows no emotional expression. He passes Sellers and the mayor without acknowledging them. Upon stepping before the crowd, Alex scans for criminals with warrants, spotting Thomas King, a murder suspect. Alex calls out King and pursues him into the crowd, ultimately knocking him out with a taser. On his show, Pat Novak twists the incident to support the new program. He highlights that King was right next to 2 police officers who couldn't recognize him, even though he'd been evading the law for 6 years on charges of rape, assault, and murder. In contrast, Alex caught him in just a minute. This changes public opinion on the Dreyfus Act. Detroit's people start embracing Alex and call him Robocop, although some disagree, thinking that policing should be a human job, not a robot's. Sellers, however, instructs Dr. Norton to keep Alex away from his family temporarily. At the police station, Alex arrives as Chief Dean briefs officers on murder suspects. Alex takes on a case to find a criminal named John Biggs. He patrols the city on his motorcycle, detaining some drug users who lead him to Biggs's drug lab. Alex confronts Biggs's henchman and corners Biggs, who tries to use a grenade but ends up blowing himself up. Days later, Clara stops Alex on the street, expressing concern about their traumatized son, David, who has nightmares. Although Alex appears to ignore her, he later watches CCTV footage of reporters harassing Clara and David as she tries to take David to school. Realizing how distant he's become from his family, Alex returns home to investigate the scene of the car explosion. Watching the security footage, he discovers that David witnessed his burning body, leaving the boy scared and anxious. Alex resolves to put an end to Vallon once and for all. He revisits Jerry White, the gun dealer who initially informed him and Lewis about Vallon's involvement in the gun trafficking scheme. He pulls him out of his car to question him. However, Jerry doesn't reveal any information. Alex tries to break Jerry's hand, eventually making him reveal the identity of a man from Vallon's crew with whom he's in contact. Leveraging his access to phone company records, Alex traces the location of Vallon's warehouse. While en route to the warehouse on his motorcycle, someone tips off Vallon about Alex's impending arrival. Vallon quickly rallies his men to grab their weapons. They turn off the lights and equip themselves with night vision goggles in the hope of making it more difficult for Alex to take them out. When Alex breaches the warehouse doors with his motorcycle, they open fire on him. Alex's suit sustains damage and his visor shatters. Nevertheless, he eliminates all of Vallon's remaining gunmen except Vallon. After dispatching Vallon, Alex retrieves a gun from one of the fallen men and scans it for fingerprints, discovering prints belonging to Lake and Daniels. Returning to the police station with Jack, Alex interrogates Lake and Daniels, presenting evidence of their involvement in the criminal activities on every monitor in the station. Daniels attempts to shoot Alex but ends up getting shot himself. Lake eventually confesses that Chief Dean was complicit in both the restaurant shootout and the car bombing. Alex attacks Lake with a taser before heading to confront Dean. Maddox, operating remotely, intervenes and shuts Alex down. Maddox reports this to Sellers, who is aboard his helicopter. In another episode of The Novak Element, Novak comments on how Alex exposed corruption within the police department, highlighting why it's time to deploy the robots on the streets. Meanwhile, Sellers meets with Maddox, Klein, and Pope to discuss Alex's condition. Klein issues a public statement stating that Alex is in critical condition. Sellers decides to use Alex as a symbol of martyrdom to generate public sympathy. Additionally, the Dreyfus Act is repealed. Clara, Alex's wife, demands to see her husband, but is denied access. Sellers dispatches Maddox and a team of mercenaries to eliminate Alex, intending to inform Clara that Alex died of his injuries. Klein arrives at Clara's residence and escorts her and David to headquarters to meet with Sellers. With Kim's assistance, Dr. Norton rushes into the facility where Alex is being held, warning him about the mercenaries sent by Sellers with orders to eliminate both of them. Alex regains consciousness just in time to neutralize the two attackers before they can open fire on him and Norton. Alex rides his motorcycle to Omnicorp headquarters, where he receives assistance from Lewis, who has gathered the SWAT team for support. Using a taser, Alex attacks a guard outside the building, compelling the others to surrender. He skillfully drives his motorcycle into the building, drawing the attention of two menacing ED-209 droids. They open fire on Alex, but he tricks them into targeting each other. Amidst the chaos, a third droid flies down from a great height, trapping Alex's left arm beneath it. Alex retrieves a submachine gun and severs his own left arm to free himself. The droids manage to hit him, making him fall. Lewis rushes to Alex's aid, shielding him from further harm and allowing Alex to make a run for it. However, he is soon cornered by Maddox and another thug, both sporting those troublesome red asset bracelets that prevent Alex from using lethal force. Lewis intervenes, dispatching Maddox and the other thug, albeit sustaining non-fatal injuries himself. Alex examines Lewis's wounds and determines they are not life-threatening. Alex reaches the rooftop of the building, where Sellers awaits a helicopter alongside Clara, David, and another mercenary, accompanied by Klein and Pope. Alex commands Pope and Klein to stand down, and they comply. He endeavors to arrest Sellers for staging his murder, but realizes that Sellers also wears a red asset bracelet, rendering him unable to shoot. Sellers points his gun at Alex, and then at Clara and David. Alex surpasses his programming, shooting Sellers just as Sellers fires back. As Sellers dies, Clara and David rush to Alex's side. Later on, Alex is taken back to receive a new and improved suit. Clara and David visit him, and he greets them with a warm smile. The final scene features another segment of The Novak Element. Despite the president's veto against repealing the Dreyfus Act, after Norton's testimony against Omnicorp's program, Novak remains steadfastly pro-robot. He continues to praise Sellers while criticizing Norton for whistleblowing. Concluding his show, Novak urges viewers to embrace change and stop complaining. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.